Whether you feel like your webinars just aren't hitting the mark or you're running out of new, fresh ideas, everyone can use a little inspiration from time to time. Webinar topics need to not only attract a large audience, but they need to deliver value and drive action, and that can be a tall order to fill. Luckily here at Demio, we know webinars, so let's get started. Hey there, I'm Taylor from Demio, and I am here today to tell you all about picking the right webinar topic that is going to deliver results. Don't forget to check out the description below because I have linked our website, our blog, and our newsletter so you can keep up to date with all things marketing and webinars. So it's time to grab a snack and relax because we are going to break down what it means to make an amazing webinar topic. So let's start with why you need to choose a good webinar topic to begin with, and I'm only going to break down a few of these reasons. The first one is the more relevant your topic is, the more conversions you are going to get. The second part to this is it creates a way better experience for your attendees when the topic is relevant to them. And the final reason is that it creates really amazing alignment between yourself and your webinars and your business goals. Okay, so let's jump into the steps to creating an amazing webinar topic. The first step here is to know your audience. This goes without saying, but you need to understand who your audience is, where they're at currently on their journey, and what they get by spending time and resources with you. If you haven't already, you're gonna wanna create a buyer persona or a customer avatar. This is going to break down exactly who your ideal customer is in a very detailed way. I'm not gonna break that down here, but I'm going to attach an article in the description below so you can build one out on your own. You definitely want to keep your audience in mind when you create your webinar topic, because if you don't think about your audience and where they're currently at on their journey, then they're not going to relate to the topic and they're not going to tune in. Step 2 is to know your company's goals and how exactly you're going to track them. A goal that you always need to have when creating your webinar topics is that it needs to foster alignment with your company goals. Additionally, you need to understand exactly how you are going to measure these goals. Is this going to be the number of registrants versus attendees? Is it going to be the number of monthly signups? Make sure you know exactly what you're going to be tracking for each webinar event. So when choosing your webinar topic, you are going to want to analyze your overarching goals and see how effective this topic is to achieving those goals. Then you can set your webinar objectives and desired results on those. And before we make our way into step 3, make sure you like this video and then subscribe to the channel down below so that way you don't miss another video on marketing tips or webinar strategies. Step 3 is to define your webinar goals. You need to ask yourself before you choose any topic for a webinar, what exactly you're trying to achieve with this webinar and why you need to spend time on it. Goals can be very complex and can change with each webinar. So it's super important that they are measurable and explicit. You're gonna wanna use a framework like SMART goals in order to track your goals and how effective they will be for your company. And if you don't know, SMART goals can be broken down like this. So SMART goals break down to specific, measurable, actionable, relevant, and time-based. Using something like the SMART framework is essential for your business and honestly whenever you create goals in your life, because if you can't track them in a measurable way, you're most likely not going to reach them. Step 4 is to define your webinar arc. You are probably asking yourself, what the heck is a webinar arc? And it's actually very simple. Webinar arc is essentially a way to demonstrate how you are taking your audience from one part of their journey, just like where they're currently at, or a problem that they're currently facing. And then the arc demonstrates your webinar, and what it links to is their desired outcome. Now, you don't necessarily want to or need to bring them all the way to their desired outcome, but you want to at least make it one step closer to that desired outcome. When most people start to create webinars, their immediate question is, how can we get as many leads as possible from this event? Stats like that can be considered the webinar goal, but they shouldn't be confused with the webinar's purpose. The purpose of your webinar should always be, what is the desired outcome for my audience and how can I get them closer to it? Okay, that is choosing a webinar topic in a nutshell. I hope I gave you reassurance that as long as you understand your audience and know your business objectives, you have all of the keys that you need to creating an amazing webinar topic. Next week, I am going to break down how to come up with webinar topics when you've run out of ideas. So if you are in a creative rut, you are not going to want to miss next week's episode. Thank you so much for watching this video today, and as always, I have linked a ton of articles that could be helpful for you on developing webinar topics, building a buyer persona, and anything that I discussed in this video will be linked down in that description. All right, marketers, that's it for today, and I will see you next week. Bye.